So in here, we're going to apply the product rule of differentiation sa mga given trigonometric functions. So let's recall nga what is the product rule of differentiation. So in here, ang product rule of differentiation ay ito. Ito yung original na formula niya. So ang derivative ng f of x times g of x is f of x times the derivative ng g of x plus g of x times the derivative of f of x. Yun yun. Okay? However, since kasi medyo mahaba to, we will try something creative to the point na it's easy for us to understand. So, we use u and v function. Kumbaga gumamit tayo ng letter u at letter v. So, anong derivative ng u times v? So, magiging u times the derivative ng v plus v times derivative ng u. Or to make it simple sa pag-memorize or pag-familiarize, ang formula ng product rule ay u dv plus v du. Okay? u dv plus v du. So, I recommend you to memorize this one because this one is far better. Okay? Now, let's try to apply product rule of differentiation sa mga given nating examples. So, ilagay natin dito. So, unang example, we have the derivative of sin x times cosine x. So in here, pick which one will be your u and which one will be your v. So for me, I will pick sin x as my u and cosine x be v. So we will have u as sin x, v as cosine x. Now, we're going to get the derivative ng dalawa. Kunin natin yung derivative nila. So let's start first with your u. Anong derivative ng u? So basically, anong derivative ng sin x? Recall natin ang derivative ng sin x ay cosine x. If you still don't know how to get the derivative of a given trigonometric function, I recommend you to watch first yung basics ng derivative ng trigonometry. Okay? Panoorin nyo muna yun bago kayo mag-proceed dito. Alright? Next, kunin natin derivative ng v, which is derivative ng cosine x. Recall that ang derivative ng cosine x ay negative sin x. Now, we can substitute the formula here. So, u dv plus v du. Ayan na siya. So, let's start with your u. So, yung u mo, which is si sin x. Times si dv, which is si negative sin x. Plus si v, which is si cosine x. And times du, which is si cosine x. Now, let's simplify. Sin x times negative sin x, we will have negative sine squared of x. Plus cosine x times cosine x, we have cosine squared of x. And therefore, that is our final answer. Or, pwede nyo mo namang siyang isimplify. Kung ayaw nyo nang may negative sa harap, gusto mo yung negative na sa dulo, no problem. You can interchange the position of negative sine squared x and cosine squared x. So if you're going to do that, we will have cosine squared x minus sine squared x. That's it. Okay? And this is still a correct answer. However, we can simplify this one. Because ito, si cosine squared x minus sine squared x, this is the same as cosine of 2x. This is one of the double-angled identities. Okay? So, we can simply substitute cosine squared x minus sine squared x as cosine of 2x. Therefore, we will have cosine of, wait lang, mali lang yung spacing. So we will have cosine of 2x. So that will be our final answer and the most simplified answer. So that's it lang. All right? Let's just say meron tayong ganito. The derivative of secant x times tangent x. Ayan. So the same technique lang. Pick which one will be your u, which one will be your v. So I pick u as secant and v as tangent. Okay? Ngayon, kunin natin yung derivative ng dalawa. So let's start first with your u. Anong derivative ng u or derivative ng secant x? So ang derivative ng secant x ay secant x times tangent x. Ngayon, kunin natin yung derivative ng v. Okay? Or derivative ng tangent x. Ang derivative ng tangent x ay secant squared x. Now, let's substitute the formula. U times dv plus, v times du. So, your u is basically, your u is basically secant x times dv, which is your secant squared x, plus cv, which is c tangent x, times du, which is c secant x times tangent. So now, we can simplify. Secant x times secant squared x, that will be secant cube of x, plus tangent x times secant x times tangent x, we will have secant x times the square of tangent x, or tangent squared of x. And that is our final answer. Or actually, pwede pa natin itong i-simplify pa. We can actually simplify this. The first term and the second term, yung first term natin kasi, di ba, secant cube of x. Then sa second term, we have secant x times the square of tangent x. Both of them are divisible by secant x. At yan yung greatest common factor nila. Kumbaga, their GCF is secant x. So therefore, we can factor out secant x dito. So we will have secant x times 1pt secant squared x plus tangent squared x. Ayan. So pwede na rin to as your final answer. Okay? Or if you like to simplify it even more, you can convert this function into sine or cosine function or both functions. Nagagets nyo ba ako? Kumbaga, you can convert these functions into sine or cosine function. Pwede naman yun. Alright? So let's give it a try. So, remember that secant is 1 all over cosine x, diba? Then si tangent, basically this is sine x all over cosine x. Now let's substitute. So we have secant x dito. So this will be your 1 all over cosine x times square ng secant x. So basically, this is 1 all over cosine squared. Okay? Kumbaga guys, kapag si secant, kunwari ito, focus tayo dito. Dito tayo mag-focus. Kapag naka-square si secant, ibig sabihin nun, naka-square din si cosine. Okay? Naka-square din si cosine. Okay? So the same thing here sa square ng tangent x, kapag naka-square si tangent x, naka-square din si sine at saka si cosine. Hence, we have sine squared x all over cosine squared x. Okay? Makuha. Now, we can simplify further. So, in this parenthesis, to be specific, both of them are similar fractions. Kasi again, mukha silang fraction and both of them have the same denominator. So meaning we can add them together. So what happens if we did that? So magiging 1 plus sine squared of x all over cosine squared of x. Okay? Now, what we can do here is we will multiply them together. Okay? 1 all over cosine x plus quantity, plus quantity, times quantity, 1 plus sine squared x all over cosine squared of x. So magiging 1 plus sine squared x all over the cube of cosine or cosine cube of x. O, diba? This is already simplified. So it's up to you. Siyempre, mas pipiliin ko to kasi mas simple to eh. Pero if you want to convert this whole function or this expression into sine or cosine, then I recommend you to pick this one. Another example is we have the derivative of kailangan. Yan. The derivative of cosecant x times quantity tangent x minus cotangent x. Yan. So medyo mahaba pero worth it of a try. Or worth of a try pala, sorry, sa grammar. Okay, so pick which one is your U, which one is your V. So for me, I'm going to pick U as cosecant x. Then si V, yun yung nakaparenthesis, which is si tangent x minus cotangent x. Now let's get the derivative of the two. Kunin natin yung derivative ng U or derivative ng cosecant x. So ang derivative ng cosecant x, if you recall, ay negative cosecant x times cotangent x. Next, kunin natin yung derivative ng V or derivative ng tangent x minus cotangent x. So let's start first with the tangent x. So ang derivative ng tangent x ay secant squared x minus derivative ng cotangent x ay, if you recall, negative cosecant squared of x. So therefore, since kasi meron tayong negative sa labas at negative kay cosecant squared x, magiging secant squared x plus cosecant squared x. Yan na yung magiging derivative ng v mo. Alright? Now, what we're going to do is we will now substitute the formula. So we have u times dv plus v times du. Actually, I have no more space. So what I can do here is I will just bring the solution down. Dito na lang tayo magsimula. Ayan. So u dv plus v du. Now let's start with your u. So yung u natin, yung u natin ay cosecant x times si dv or derivative ng v, which is si secant squared x plus cosecant squared x plus si v, which is si tangent x minus cotangent x times si du or derivative ng u, which is negative cosecant x times cotangent x. Ayan. So now, we can now simplify. Okay? So, in here, try natin itong i-distribute si cosecant x at saka dito sa expression na to. So, cosecant x times secant squared x, we will have cosecant x times secant squared x. Ayan, okay. Next, cosecant x times the square of cosecant. So we will have cosecant cube of x. Ayan. Now, sa second term, we will distribute this trigonometric function dito sa expression na to. So let's start with the first one. Cosecant x times cotangent x. If you want to take it slow, no problem. Ipagdikit-dikit mo muna sila. So in here, we will have, ito? Yeah. So we will have negative cosecant x times cotangent x. Times tangent x. Yan. Tapos, to the next term, negative cosecant x times cotangent x times negative cotangent x. So magiging positive cosecant x times the square of cotangent x. Ganito magiging tsura niya. Okay. Now let's simplify. Dito sa sa third term, kapag magkadikit si cotangent x at saka si tangent x, ang mangyari dyan, this will be 1. Bakit? Let's prove it. Cotangent x, ayusin ko yung sulat ko. Cotangent x times tangent x is equal to 1. Let's prove it. Cotangent x, kung naalala nyo, this is cosine x all over sine x. Diba? Si tangent x is the same, mali ako. Si tangent x ay sine x all over cosine x. So what will happen? So, you see, makakancel sila. We have cosine x sa taas at cosine x sa baba, and we have sine x sa taas at sine x sa baba. So therefore, ano magiging resulta? Magiging 1 lang siya. So it is verified or proven. Therefore, this will be, itong na cotangent x times tangent x, this will be 1. So let me copy the other terms. Okay, kopya ko muna mga ibang terms. Okay, copy, paste. Yan. Tapos, ito, magiging minus cosecant x times 1. Negative cosecant x times 1 is just negative cosecant x. Just the same. Okay? Then, that's it. Ayan na. Alright? Now, can we still simplify things? The answer is yes. Pwede pa natin itong isimplify. Okay? As you can see, sa first term, cosecant x times secant squared x. Second term, cosine cube of x. Third term, negative cosecant x. And the last term, cosecant x times the square of cotangent x. They are all divisible by cosecant x. Lahat sila may cosecant x, di ba? So, yung greatest common factor nila ay si cosecant x. Therefore, we can just simply factor cosecant x in this expression. So what will happen? So magiging ganito siya. Cosecant x times 1 pt secant squared x plus cosecant squared x minus 1, mali ako naman. Minus 1 plus cotangent squared of x. At yan yung magiging itsura niya. Pero we can still simplify. We can still simplify actually. Why? Because there's one thing that reminds me. We have this what you call Pythagorean identities. Okay? Kung naalala nyo yata, ang Pythagorean identities ay ito. Sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. Then meron pa tayong isa pa, which is C, 1 plus tangent squared of x is equal to secant squared of x. Then lastly, meron pa tayong isa pa. 1 plus cotangent squared of x is equal to cosecant squared of x. So this is the Pythagorean identities. Now, what happens if we transpose 1 to the right side? Dito sa expression na to, sa expression ng 1 plus tangent squared x is equal to secant squared x. So what happens if I transpose 1 on the right side? So ito mangyayari yun. Okay? So this would be tangent squared x is equal to secant squared x minus 1. Okay? How about this one kaya? Let's try. Let's try to transpose 1 on the right side. Let's give it a try. So if we're going to transpose 1 on the right side, then we will have cotangent squared of x is equal to cosecant squared of x minus 1. Now, let's take a look. Diba meron tayong cosecant squared of x minus 1? So, we can substitute this one as cotangent squared of x. Okay, pwede yun. Pwede naman yun. So, therefore, we can simply rewrite this as cosecant x times quantity secant squared x plus cotangent squared of x plus cotangent squared of x. Ayan na. And since these last two terms are similar to each other, so we can add them together. Okay? Therefore, we will have secant squared x plus 2 times cotangent squared of x. Yan yung magiging resulta niya. And that will be our what? Simplified answer. Or, pwede rin namang ito. Okay, let me give you another way around. Okay, let me copy this one first. Or you can have this answer. Okay, we can just simply interchange yung position ng -1 at saka si cosecant squared x. We can do that. Pwede naman yun. So maging cosecant x times quantity secant squared x minus 1 plus cosecant squared x and the rest of the terms. Now, if you're going to take a look very closely, secant squared x minus 1 is the same as tangent squared of x, which is basically, ito yun. Okay? So therefore, we can just simply substitute secant squared x minus 1 as tangent squared x. So therefore, we will have tangent squared of x plus cosecant squared of x plus cotangent squared of x. Okay? So, this is also correct. This is also correct. Pwede yan. Okay? Pick one which would you prefer. Okay? I'm just giving you a multiple possible answer na pwede pala to gamitin as your final answer. Pwede rin namang tong what do you call this one? We can actually simplify these two answers into sine or cosine function. Pwede naman yun. Okay? It's still valid naman to convert these functions into sine or cosine function. It is still valid. Okay? So, if you want, okay, for the sake of viewers or tama, for the sake of viewers, I can still do it. I can convert these functions into sine or cosine function. However, by time mismo, I recommend you to do it by your own. Okay? Just like what I did in the previous problem, convert ko siya by sine or cosine, di ba? However, due to the time, I recommend to do it on your own. Okay? So, yun lang naman ang masabi ko. Now, let's proceed to the last problem. By the way, before I proceed, ito na pala yung sagot natin. Either this one or this one. You can still simplify this one once again, but I'm gonna stop right now for the sake of time, okay, or length ng time ng video na. Now, we will have our last problem. What if naka-binomial expression? Ano ulit ang ibig sabihin ng binomial expression? Meaning, it is a polynomial na may dalawang terms. Okay? So, think of it this way. Mukha siyang polynomial, pero yung mga terms ay trigonometric function. Let's just say for this one, we have sine x plus cosine x. Then may isa pa tayo. We have cosine x minus sine x. Ayan. So we have two binomial expressions. Pero instead of terms na nagamit, trigonometric function ang nagamit. Now, let's apply product rule of differentiation. Okay. So, let, for me, yung u ko magiging sin x plus cosine x. Tapos yung v ko magiging cosine x minus sin x. Now, let's get their derivatives. Let's start with your u. What is the derivative of your u? Okay? So, anong derivative ng sin x plus cosine x? So, let's take it slow. Anong derivative ng sin x? This is cosine x. Plus, derivative ng cosine x, this is negative sin x. Okay? So, hence, your du is cosine x minus sin x. Now, let's go to the derivative ng v. Okay? Or derivative ng cosine x minus sin x. So, let's take it slow. Ang derivative ng cosine x ay negative sin x. Minus, derivative ng sin x ay cosine x. And that would be your dv. Now, we can substitute it into our formula, which is ito yun. U dv plus v times du. Ay, sorry. That's it. Now, let's substitute. Yung u mo magiging sin x plus cosine x. Then dv, we have negative sin x plus cosine x. Actually, guys, plus tuloy, minus pala to. Minus cosine x. Actually, para sa akin, guys, di ba kasi, let's go back here sa dv. Di ba we have negative sin x and negative cosine x? We can actually factor out negative 1 dito. Bakit? Because both of them are negative. Ulitin ko we can actually factor out negative 1 dito. Because both of them are what? Negative. So that means we will have negative 1 times quantity sin x plus cosine x. So hence, negative 1 times quantity sin x plus cosine x magiging negative quantity sin x. Magiging negative quantity sin x plus cosine x. Ganito mangyayari sa kanya. So, we can actually, paano ko ba ito sabihin? We can actually rewrite it in different way. So ito, magiging ano na to, times negative quantity sin x plus cosine x. Ayan, ganito maging tsura. Ayan. So that would be your dv. Now, let's proceed to your v. Your v, that would be cosine x minus sin x times du, which is, ito yun, cosine x minus sin x. Ayan. Now, let's simplify. So, I have two answers for this one. One is actually the simplified, and the other, actually, wait lang. Let me rephrase what I said. We have two answers. First is actually the simplest way to get the simplified answer, or the other one is you're going to expand them, then combine all the similar terms. So let's start first with the first answer, which is the simplest way to get the simplified answer. So, di ba meron tayong negative dito? Di ba? And then we have two the same expression or trigonometric expression. Dito sa u, we have sin x plus cosine x. Sa V, we have negative quantity sin x plus cosine x. So what happens kapag minultiply mo itong dalawa? Magkaparehas silang dalawa. It's like loss of exponent na meron kang parehas na base. Kunwari, x raised to 2 times x raised to 3. Both of them have the same base. So we will have x raised to 2 plus 3. Gets nyo? Kumbaga like, if we have 2 the same base, din gagawin mo na lang is i-kopya mo lang siya at i-add yung mga exponent. Diba? Let me give you another example. 2x times x raised to 3. So, si 2, constant lang siya, so we can just leave it be. Then, i-multiply natin yung mga x. Multiply natin x. Iko-combine natin tong x natin. So, maging x raised to, yung exponent nito, magiging 1 plus 3. So, magiging 2x raised to 4. Okay? Now, let's try it with yung mga naka-parentheses. Try natin. We have quantity x minus 1 times x minus 1. So, since magkapareha silang dalawa, so we can just copy the base x minus 1, then i-add natin yung exponent nila. Exponent nito is 1 at exponent nito si 1. So, we will have 1 plus 1. Okay? So, one more example para mas gets nyo pa. So, let's just say meron tayong 3 times quantity x plus 1 times quantity x plus 1. So, meron tayong constant na 3. Diba? So, we will leave it be. Tapos ito yung mga base nito. Both of them are the same. So, ipag-combine natin sila into 1. So, magiging 3 times quantity x plus 1. Tapos, i-add natin yung exponent nila. So, we have 1 and 1 exponent. So, magiging raised to 1 plus 1. So, therefore, we have 3 times quantity x plus 1 raised to 2. Yan ang gagawin natin dito. We will do the same thing here. Okay? So, in here, wait lang, aburahin ko lang. So, in here, since we have 2 the same base, ano lang pinakakaiba lang is that magkaiba na silang sign. So, magiging negative times quantity sin x plus cosine x raised to 1 plus 1 because yung exponent nila ay 1. So, therefore, we will have this one. Sin x plus cosine x raised to 2. Now, to the second term, ganun din kasi the first subterm at saka the second subterm, both of them are exactly the same. So we will copy the base cosine x minus sin x. Then, i-add natin yung exponent nila. So we have 1 and 1. So therefore, we will have 1 plus 1. So we will have 2. That's it. Then, after that, since kasi meron yung negative sa harap and ayaw ko, in my own preference, ayaw ko ng negative term sa harap, so ipag-interchange ko silang dalawa. So, now we will have cosine x minus sin x squared minus the square of sin x plus cosine x. So, therefore, this is now my answer. It's simple. Okay, it's simple actually. Yan na yun. That will be my final answer. Okay, yan na yun. Or, kung gusto nyo, i-expand nyo na lang siya. Tapos, combine similar terms na lang. Okay? There's no problem. So, what if na-expand nyo to? Tapos, i-simplify natin siya sa huli? Pwede naman. Okay? So, let's expand this one. I-expand natin. We will get the second possible answer because this one is the first possible answer, which is the simplest way to get the simplified answer. Now, let's go to the second part. Okay? Getting the answer for this one after you expand and you simplify it further. So, expand natin si first term. How do you expand ang square ng binomial? Di ba naturan ko yung technique? how would you expand the squared binomial? Ang first step ay, ano? Square the first term. Ang second step ay 2 times the first term times the second term. Then, the third step is square the second term. So, we will do it the both of these terms. Gagawin natin sa kanilang dalawa. So, let's start with the first term. Okay? So, let's square the first one, which is si cosine x. So, we will have cosine squared x plus, second step, 2 times the first term, si cosine x, times the second term, which is si negative sine x. Ayan, that's it. Now, lastly, third step is square the last term, which is ito yun, si negative sine x, yung second term dito sa first expression. So we will have the square of sine x. Okay? So mangyari dyan, we will have sine squared of x. Okay? Minus, dito naman tayo sa second term, which is ito. Okay? So, second expression pala. So, square the first term. I-square natin si first term. This would be sine squared x. Okay? Plus 2 times the first term, which is si sine x, times the second term, which is si cosine x. Ayan. Then next, last but not the least, square the second term. So, i-square natin si cosine x. So, this would be cosine squared x. Now, we can simplify. So, ito, we will have cosine squared x plus tuloy. Dito, sa second term, 2 times cosine x times negative sine x, we will have negative 2 times cosine x times sine x, then plus sine squared x. Then dito naman sa dulo, we will have negative quantity, minus quantity, sine squared x. Tapos sa second term, 2 times sine x times cosine x, we will have 2 sine x times cosine x. Then here, cosine squared x, we will have cosine squared x. Okay? Then, we can distribute this negative sign dito sa expression na to. So, ang mangyayari dyan, we will have this one. Okay? So, we will have minus sine squared x minus 2 sine x cosine x minus cosine squared. Okay. Yan yung magiging tsura niya. Now, let's simplify. Okay, I hope tama ako. Cosine x, cosine squared x. Okay, tama. And then, wait lang, chine-check ko lang if tama ako ha. Baka tawag ito, baka mali pala ako sa huli. Okay, so now, let's simplify. So we have cosine squared x at saka si negative cosine squared x. Both of them are the same in terms of functions, pero magkaiba sila ng sign. So magiging 0 to. Cosine squared x minus cosine squared x is 0. So this would be cancelled. Magiging 0. Next, we have sine squared x minus sine squared x. They are the same, but in terms of sign, they are opposite. So sine squared x minus sine squared x, makakancel sila. This one, on the other hand, we can combine them both. Okay? Etong si negative 2 cosine x sine x, it can be rewritten as negative 2 times sine x times cosine x. Parehas lang naman sila. Okay? Basta, if both of them have cosine x, sine x, then it doesn't matter kung i-interchange mo yung position nila o hindi. As long as both of them have something in common, you can combine them together. Naiintindihan niyo ba ako? Kumbaga kasi, di ba dito sa second term, we have cosine x at sine x. Sa second term tuloy, sa fifth term, kumbaga, we have sine x and cosine x din. So meaning, you can combine them both kasi both of them are similar. Despite na merong silang difference of positioning, still, if you're going to add them together, they are still valid. Pwede pa rin sila ipag-combine. Okay? So therefore, we can combine these two. So negative 2 sine x cosine x minus negative 2 cosine x sine x, ang resulta nun will be, wait lang. This will be negative 4 times sine x times cosine x. Pwede na to as your final answer. Or, pwede pa natin itong isimplify. You see, 2 times cosine x or 2 times sine x identity. 2 times sine x sine of 2x. Kahit ipagpalit mo si cosine x at saka si sine x in terms of their position, it's still the same. The answer is still sine of 2x. Now, how can we have sine of 2x? Paano kaya yun? How can we have sine of 2x? Simple. Let's factor out 2 in this expression. Or better yet, let's factor out negative 2 in this expression. So kapag na-factor out natin si negative 2, we will have negative 2 times positive 2 times sine x times cosine x. Ayan. There you go. Okay? And now, here, we can simply substitute 2 times sine x cosine x as sine of 2x. Therefore, we will have negative 2 times sine of 2x. So, magiging negative 2 times sine of 2x ang final sagot. O, di ba, ang haba na nga ng solution natin, pero ang sagot ay maikli. So, this is the most simplified and finale na sagot. So, anyways, the last example, I hope you have learned something. Sensya na if I being on a rush, I have a given timeline na hanggang saan ako mag-upload. For the sake of the viewers na rin. Anyways, I hope you've learned from this one because the next thing ang gagawin natin is quotient rule. Okay? And don't worry, after ng quotient rule, we will have like a practice. What if mixed yung operations given natin? Kumbaga, hindi lang tayo mag-apply ng sum and difference, pero meron din palang meron din pala siyang product rule or quotient rule. Later, in the next video, you will see it. Alright? So thank you once again and I hope to see you soon and I hope na may matutunan din kayo rito. See you!